Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Jim Crowley Outdoors here. Well, we're going to be calling in the new future. We're going to be calling it Slickfish Radio. So looking forward to all of you joining us tonight. And if you stay tuned to the end of the broadcast, I'm also going to be giving away one of the new hats tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. And sorry about last week. We just had a malfunction. Don't know what happened. The internet shut down. I live in a small town. I don't know if a pigeon flew into the house. I don't know if a squirrel chewed through something. But hopefully tonight we are going to have a good time. Our guest tonight is Justin Lucas. And a lot of you guys have been doing a lot of comments. I'm already seeing some comments up here now. Hi, Jim. Hi, Lyndon. All right. We're going to bring in our guest because I think we're going to have a lot of people on here tonight. Welcome to the show. Justin, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Hope you guys are all doing well and happy to be back. It was such a short time since you had me last.
I know. I was going to say that was, I think, the shortest interview in the history that we've done this show. And I prayed tonight that's a little bit longer. You are such a good sport, folks.
It's all good. It's all good.
And he was so understanding and so much fun. And I've had that stuff happen to me too. But when it's your own show, you laugh when it's somebody else's. When it's your own, you throw a fit. But if Justin has to run tonight, his wonderful wife, they are expecting their second child. And so if he just has to drop the earbuds and go, we're going to all forgive him because it's a heck of a lot more important.
And excuse I'm trying to get my this shoulder. There we go. Excuse the crib in there too.
That's okay.
But I'm in the baby's room. I'm getting kicked out of the office and I got to find a new place for the office.
That's okay. We got guys coming in from Canada already. Hi,
awesome.
Niall. Hi, Gary McCree from Southern Illinois. Heck of a duck hunter. Great guy. Hi, Landon. Hi, everybody. This is going to be fun. So, Justin, I want to get right to asking you a couple questions. Now, when you were fishing BASS, you qualified, I think, for at least 3 Bassmasters Classics. You won a couple of the elite events, and then you made the switch over to MLF Tackle Warehouse, which I love seeing. By the way, when I was watching you fish in La Crosse, I know I love La Crosse. We fished there a lot, and I'm like, man, that's a great spot right there.
Yeah, it was.
It's just a fun place. But how was the transition? Because for every angler, it's different. How was the transition for you from BASS to the format of Tackle Warehouse?
I'm not going to lie. I struggled with it the first year. 2019, I couldn't get it going. I missed the first 4 checks of our 8 tour season, or 8 event season. I missed the first 4 and then got in a little groove and made 4 checks in a row and kind of felt like we ended the year. I was just starting to get the hang of it. Mm-hmm. I ended up 45th in the points. So for me, by my standards, I try to have really high standards. That way, if I fall short, I can still be okay with things. But I definitely was not satisfied being 45th in the points. And the next year I went back out. And again, I missed the first 3 checks in a row. Not the first 4, at least just the first 3. We had the long 2 or 3 month break with COVID. And we came back, and Heavy Hitters was our first event back. And I hadn't made a top 10 in MLF until that event. And then since May 2020, I've missed just 1 cut on the Bass Pro Tour. So that was really cool. I felt like I really turned things around. I am too competitive sometimes, and just in everything that I do. It doesn't matter if it's cornhole or a board game or whatever. But I just didn't want to get beat by that format. And I felt like I was getting beat by it the first year. And like I said, wasn't satisfied. And so I think I started to practice differently. I started to learn how to break down these places quicker because we only had 2 days of practice instead of 3. And finally just got the hang of it. And now I'm a lot more comfortable with either format now. And that's what I loved about this year, was being able to go back and forth between a 5 fish limit and the Bass Pro Tour format, because there's great things that both formats have to offer. I hate seeing all the arguments online about what is better. They're both awesome, and they both have cons about them too. There's both things that are drawbacks to them. So being able to do both for me is that's the best of both worlds, no pun intended, but it really is my favorite thing to do.
Well, without you and I really knowing one another, you and I have that in common. I'm competitive everything I do. I don't care if I'm going driving from a friend's house for the 47th time. I'm going to see if I can do it just a little bit quicker, a little bit better. It's just
I understand.
that's just what drives us as an angler. Just drives us when you have passion about something. You're always driving to make it better, to do better. And this year you had at least three top tens.
Yeah.
I remember you were a lot more, and for your standards, you were a lot more consistent because you're known as a pretty consistent guy. So I'm sure it did bum you out a little bit. When I go film on a new body of water, if I don't figure it out or at least start catching some fish, I start getting aggravated. And you really got to
Yeah.
learn to calm that down because we all know that the more aggravated you get, the less productive
Man,
that you're going to be.
so true. And yeah, it just you gotta calm yourself and keep yourself in check. But back to what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I expect when I always say anybody can be beat, any fisherman can be beat
Yeah.
any day, any fisherman can be beat any tournament. But by the end of the year, where you're at in the points really
Mm-hmm.
determines a guy's his true potential or true abilities as a fisherman. And so for me, I was in the top 10 for so many years in the points and then fell to 45th. And it was a big time bummer, to be honest. And it was just a nice wake up call too, because it was also the year after I won AOY. So I'm on this big high,
Yep.
almost, almost kind of too comfortable, satisfied with what I did the year before. And then just felt like I got throttled the next year. So it lit a fire under me, to get better. And I gotta keep those fires lit. There's always little things that
Oh, yeah.
just help ignite it further, and it just makes me really anxious to get back on the water and kick some butt.
Well, you know what? And the gut check things when they happen suck.
They
They,
do.
they they do they do, and you realize afterwards that you go, I'm glad that happened because maybe if it didn't, it wouldn't have propelled me to where I went or what I did or what I got to do. Because all of a sudden, I think that's one of the most honest statements anybody's made on this show so far is that I got comfortable. I
Hmm.
myself to blame. Everybody watching this now, everybody watching this when we post it later again. So if you're a tournament fisherman, you've done it. If you haven't done it, you're lying to yourself or you haven't been doing this long enough because it
Hmm.
happens. You have that day where you sit and you get comfortable, you get gut checked, and then hopefully you learn from it and you move on. And that's when you become really dangerous. You go, you know what? I'm going to keep my head above water. I'm going to stay really focused and good things happen.
Yeah,
Good things happen.
I'll tell you, man. I take every event. There has only been a couple events in my career that I've actually been really bummed about leaving the event. And they were just a couple events that I felt like I didn't learn anything at all throughout the
Mm-hmm.
week, throughout the event. And that's only happened a couple times. And those are the ones that really kind of piss me off. But,
Yep.
that's very, very few because I take the ones where I get my butt kicked. I just learn from those and I try to never make the same mistake twice. And, if I feel like if I live by that, even my life, just mistakes that I make as a person, if I live by that, don't make that same mistake twice. We're all gonna have our faults
Oh
and
yeah.
places where we screw up.
Yeah.
So learn, move on. The past is always the past, and the future, you know, has so much in front of you, in store for you, that if you can learn from what you made mistakes on and get better, you're just in life or as a fisherman, you're going to be better off.
You're 100% correct. I want to talk to you about because I think one of your favorite fish to catch and is mine is a smallmouth, especially
Never
at
heard
this.
of them.
Yeah, never heard of them. So yeah, they're just I hear they're little brown fish that have no attitude.
Hmm.
Um, Now in the Great Lakes, the last several years, that drop shot has been really predominant. And I know you know a little bit about that. Was that a favorite technique going in? Actually, one of the questions I wanted to ask you was what that has become such a dominant thing when you guys hit the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
And is it time of year? Is it forage base? Is it a combination of the two? What's your assessment of why that drop shot has become so deadly?
Well, I think it's just presentation.
Okay.
I think a smallmouth, just if you're to define a smallmouth, they are a curious and
Right.
aggressive fish. And they can be very finicky at times too. But I think curious and aggressive, I think that defines them better than probably, any other two words you could think of. And that the drop shot is just so deadly. If you fish a drop shot for smallmouth, you'll notice that it seems like at least half the bites I've ever got on a drop shot for smallmouth is the first like the first
Mm-hmm.
drop. You
Right.
cast out there, and now, of course, with forward-facing sonar, especially, but even before, and you click the bail, it hits the bottom. You click the bail over, and it's already heavy and taken off.
Yeah, loads a lot.
And that's because those fish, number one, the water's clear up there.
Mm-hmm.
They can see a long way away. They're aggressive and they're curious. They want to know what is falling. They're hungry. They're ready to eat. And I think that bait stopping, when they follow it and it stops right in front of their face, I think they just can't stand that. And it doesn't matter how many years have gone by, because you got to think about the first time I believe the drop shot was ever brought into the United States, really, that I remember. I was 12 or 13 at the time, and it was Aaron Martin's at Lake Oroville. He won a Bassmaster Invitational out there on this new technique called a drop shot. And I just remember thinking, I've never heard about that. So I'm reading through Bassmaster, trying to learn as much as possible. And it starts picking up. And next year he wins at Shasta. And then I think Woo Daves even used it at the Classic in Chicago when he won, on the Great Lakes. So they've been seeing a drop shot smallmouth on the Great Lakes for 20 years, I would say now. And it seems like every year it still is the best technique, the best way to present a bait to the fish. But there are times, when, of course, the Ned rig is deadly, or a hair jig, or crankbait, and all these other things. But at the end of the day, if you're fishing on the Great Lakes and you were only able to have one thing and you chose anything but a drop shot,
you're wrong.
You need to get your sanity checked, because it's just, they can throw a tube all they want. They can throw anything else all they want. But day in and day out, the drop shot is the magic up there.
And it's interesting what you said, because years ago, the first time I've been fishing smallmouth since I was a kid, absolutely love them. And years ago, I heard the term that Al Linder said, two things about a smallmouth: they're aggressive and curious by nature. And
really?
And I say that to people.
I promise I never heard him say that.
Well, I said, you're 100% right. And but it's funny, because I've said that after I really started fishing for him. I go, he was right. And Justin Lucas is right there. And the cool thing is, I learned something else years ago, learning how to fish a jerkbait from Mark Fisher from Rapala. He told me that the key to a lot of baits is not the action of the bait, but the absence of the motion. When that bait stops. And exactly what you just said right there, when that drop shot hits the bottom, what does that bait do? It stops. That is a major triggering aspect for smallmouth. And I just it is very cool. I think it's very cool how you said that, and I go, it just triggered some memories in my head, and I'm like, these are all three guys: Mark Fisher, Al Linder, Justin Lucas, who know how to catch smallmouth. And without all them knowing they said it, they all felt the same thing.
Yeah. Even though I've got a largemouth on the wall up there.
That's okay.
The smallmouth is still my favorite.
Now, we got a couple guys. We got a couple guys said, "Hey, Justin, you guys know your stuff. Hope to see some of you at the fishing shows this year." Ted, me too, buddy. I am more than willing, ready to get back there. I'm sure he is too. Landon Malone, how you doing, buddy? Niall, good. More people. If you guys got any questions for Justin while we're on here, please feel free to join in, and we'll see if we can answer a couple of your questions. Another question I have for you is, years ago, right now you have a massive following, especially on Instagram. And years ago, I think you emceed some of the college tournaments, right? And I think a lot of that, or some of that probably for sure, grew from that, because you're around emceeing a lot of these kids and doing some of it. I'm sure some of that probably grew from that. But sure. I ask this to every guest when we have them on the show. If you had to tell the upcoming anglers, high school to college anglers, one thing, if their dream is to become a professional angler like you are,
Yep.
What would be some words of encouragement or just some real life stuff and say, hey, you better do this?
For me, there was a couple big things that were really, really important. Number one, I would say, is to always fish at the level that you are capable at doing very well. And I say that, so you don't move on to a level or skip a step and you go and, just get your butt kicked and you don't want to be the donator.
Mhm.
So you want to be the guy finishing in the top. It doesn't matter if it's a smaller team. I started at the very bottom of a team circuit, so fishing with my grandpa. We were in or under 100 horsepower division. That's how small we were. So that's where we got started. But I always tell people to start, wherever you're comfortable, and then work your way up from there. So once you start doing really well at that level, make it up to the next level. And once you start doing there, continue. There is a full ladder that you could follow to be a professional fisherman. And then number two is going to go in line with that, because for the young guys, one of the most important things for me, and just my mind and all of that of pursuing the stream, was staying out of debt.
Very
And
good.
it's really, really hard to do when you're chasing something that's so expensive. But at the same time, it is possible to do, because you can fish as an amateur. And this is where I think there's been like a lost focus, or for I don't have a better term than that, lost focus, for the co-angler. That's where I got started. And co-angling, that was essentially my school. That was my college when I got out of high school. And I went to community college for a little bit, and I don't recommend people just dropping out of school and going and saying co-anglers being your school, but mixing that in with college events, or coming out of college at 22, finding a job where you can be flexible, take some time off for events to go fish as a co-angler, get your feet wet, and give yourself an opportunity at a lower cost and affordable cost to win a boat. That was how I got my first paid off boat. It was the newest boat at the time. It was I won my first big event in 2006 as a co-angler, and it was a brand new paid off 19-foot boat. Didn't have a motor, but I had a job making some extra money, so I was able to buy a motor for it. So I had a brand new paid off boat. I was 19 and living at home. I said, highly suggest being friends with your parents. Being friends with your parents. Don't have shame living at home until you're, 22, 23,
Right.
if this is what you want to do, because being in debt is one of the, that's that, you're going to have that bondage on you when you're trying to do it.
Right.
And you're just going to have so much weight from that bondage pulling against you of being in debt and trying to be a fisherman, that your mind can't be at ease and be the fisherman that you truly are with that debt lurking in the background. So that's my number one advice to the young guys, or one and two, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, and your actions, for the younger anglers watching us, your actions have consequences. And
100%.
exactly what Justin said is that if you're putting yourself in debt, you're going to fish in debt. And when you fish
Yes.
in debt, you fish stressed. You don't
Yeah.
fish well.
Yeah.
And so be appreciative of your mom and dad for letting you live there.
Yeah.
And exactly what he said, fish your level. If you can, fish against guys a little bit better than you and learn. It's a learning process. And like you said, that's great advice. Don't fish in debt. Don't fish the best you can and learn. I'm 54 years old and I learn every day. I go out in the water, and
Sure.
I'm sure at Justin's advanced level, he learns something every day.
Oh yeah.
That he goes out in the water. If you think you're better than that, you won't be out there at all, because it won't take very long.
That's right.
Fish the best you can for what you can afford. Because I got news for you. The bass don't know whether you're in a 14-foot John boat or a 21-foot Phoenix. They don't know.
I always tell the young guys, I'd be more afraid of a guy
Yeah,
in a 10-year-old boat with not the best electronics, not the best equipment, but he's out there a lot and he's always on the water.
Yep.
And he's passionate about it, versus, the same age guy that might have everything, not as passionate, doesn't know how to use all those tools to his advantage. The guy that's out there with the less equipment that's really passionate about it, he's going to beat the other guy, 8 times out of 10. Like I said, going back, anybody can be beat on any day or any tournament, but after so many events, are you ahead of that guy? Have you beat him more than he's beat you? And I'm firm in believing that so many people, they try and say that you can only make it in the sport if you've got money. And the guys that I know that are the younger guys, for the most part, there's a couple that come from money, but most of them didn't have or come from the money that they think. These guys are just that passionate about it. They were going to figure out a way to make it work. And they're that good a fisherman that they won early in their careers, the times you don't see. Jacob Wheeler won the All-American when he was 19 years old.
Right.
Who's still talking about that? They might think Jacob Wheeler comes from this rich background. He does not at all.
From Indiana.
Brandon Polinick, same way. He came up through the Federation. I could go on about the list of guys in that position. Very few of them come from money. And in fact, the ones that I saw that came from money earlier in my career, the passion wasn't there and the drive wasn't there. So they ended up fading out and going away. And these young guys can do it. The key is just doing it the right way, having a specific plan, sticking to it, and not getting yourself in trouble with debt.
Right. I mean, I'm sure I'm sure you probably still do know guys who slept in the back of their truck.
100%. I paid people to take showers in their hotel room and sleep in my car in front of their hotel room.
What is it? What do you want to do if you really want to do it that bad?
Yeah.
The passion is there. Speaking about another passion, I want to switch something to one of my favorite passions, and I follow some of your stuff on there because you like the grill.
I love it.
And you like that Traeger, and I have a pellet grill. I love pellet grill, and you have that Traeger. So I want to ask you a question. I'm sorry for you guys not going to talk about fishing for this one, but this is an important question. This is about smoking.
This is more important than fishing.
This is for crying out loud. Folks.
I don't even know what the question is, but it's more important than fishing.
So when was the first time because everybody makes an error when they're smoking stuff. Do you remember the first time when you opened a lid and went, oh crap, that didn't work out very good?
Yeah, I forgot to clean the grill. Had some grease stuck in there. And grease lights on fire.
Yes, it does.
And I had some chicken thighs that they look like pieces of charcoal when I was done, when I opened it. I mean, they're just black as can be. And I'm like, oh my gosh, grab them just hard, totally done. So I learned how important it was. Make sure you got no grease in there. Make sure you clean the grill every 3 or 4 times. And since then, no more issues on that front. Really, that's the thing. That's the coolest thing about a pellet grill is they're so easy to cook on. As long as you keep them clean, you shouldn't be able to mess anything up. They're pretty user friendly.
And the flavor, I just love the flavor off a pellet grill.
Oh, it's incredible.
I think it makes, and once you get the hang of it, it makes a guy who can grill pretty good.
Yeah.
And what is your favorite? And there's probably a bunch, but what's the first thing that comes to mind? You're like, oh man, I love doing that on my Traeger.
It's still got to be reverse searing a steak. 100%.
What's that? How do you do that?
Yeah. So, number one, when you go to the grocery store, you're looking at steaks and they're through the roof now. It kills me because I love to eat them so much, but gosh dang, they're expensive. For all you young guys trying to fish, what we just talked about, don't be buying fillets right now. But, for me, it all comes down to the look of the steak. When you first see it at the grocery store, the market, it's got to have nice marbling in it. It's got to have a decent thickness. It can't be too thin. Too thin, you're not going to be able to reverse sear correctly. The whole point of reverse searing is just low and slow and getting top to bottom all the same exact temperature. And so I'll put like an inch and a quarter fillet on there. And what I do is set the temperature at 225. You got to give yourself time, prep for the time, but trust me, it's worth it. You put it on there at 225. I'll set a timer for 20 to 30 minutes. Go flip it one time. And then just depending on the temperature you're looking for, I like a medium rare to medium steak. So I'm going to pull it off at an internal temp of 120 to 125. and then I'm going to put a cast iron skillet on high with butter and oil. And once that thing's smoking, just sear it for 45 seconds to a minute on each side. And that gives you that nice crust on the outside. And dude, top to bottom on an inch and a quarter, inch and a half fillet, it should all be almost the same color.
I'm trying to figure out the commute from my house to yours.
Where do you live?
Central Illinois. It's far.
Oh yeah, you're a little ways, but it'd be worth it. It would be worth it.
I'm telling you, I'm writing all this down. This is great. Oh, my wife just chimed in. She says, "Love seeing you guys talk about your passion." Well, yeah. Well, she knows how much I love the grill too. Justin, hey man, before you go, I really appreciate your time, and thank your wife for us too for letting us.
No problem.
For almost a half hour here. Tell people, for those living under a rock, how can they find out more about you and follow you?
Yeah, just social media or my website. JustinLucasFishing.com. But yeah, that'll take you anywhere. I don't have a ton of stuff going on social media, but I share the stuff that I enjoy, the cooking and fishing things that I enjoy, and some family stuff there too. And I've got another boy on the way, so
awesome,
my wife and I are we're trying to figure out how we could eventually. We live real close to Lake Gunnersville, but now we're trying to figure out how we could ever get a little lot on the lake and have a dock one of these days. That's kind of our dream now. That since I've got a couple boys, man, I need them to live at home till they're 23 or 24 and, start in a little 10-foot John boat and work their way up. So that's the goal.
They have got one impressive role model, my friend. I'll tell you what.
I appreciate it.
I sure really appreciate you taking your time, coming back again. I hope sometime in the future you'll decide to come back on the show, because I would love to have you.
We'll do it. Back. We'll do it.
And there's a lot of comments, people saying, "Hi, Tier, great passion from you guys. Awesome interview." I got to say one more thing just before I let you go. I am so impressed with the way that you do your absolute best to comment to people, because you guys leave nice comments. He does his best to try to return those comments to you. And with a growing family, all you've got going on, I'll tell you what, man, it's just nice to see somebody out there who knows both ends of the business so well. And I wish you continued success. I think you're an awesome angler. It's great that I got to meet you and that our fans of this show got to meet you. God bless you for this and all you continue to do. I wish you much success, and God bless you and your family with the new baby coming.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words and look forward to meeting you in person one day.
Hopefully we can do that ICAST next year. That'd be good.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right, man. You take care of yourself.
Okay, Jim. Thanks. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Justin. Bye-bye. Now, that guy is one awesome guy. Here's a guy, Last King from YouTube, joining us. Thank you. And for those of you who missed some of the interview, absolutely great interview with Justin Lucas. What a fantastic guy. I'm so glad we finally got to have him on the show. Couple things to tell you guys before you leave. I'm going to be giving away one of these hats tonight. So if you comment below that, hey, I want a Jim Crowley Outdoors hat, the first one that does it, I will contact you on social media and I will send you a Jim Crowley Outdoors hat. Okay. So I'll wait for a couple minutes here. Also got some big news coming for you here. We got the name of the show is eventually, you can be able to find everything here on Jim Crowley Outdoors. But before I finish anything else, we got to thank Dakota Lithium. We are powered by Dakota Lithium. And whether you're on the grid, off the grid, get rid of that old battery. Hang out with what we do. Hang out with Dakota Lithium. They're such a great part of this show. Rodney Hubbs, you are winning the hat, brother. He just said, hey, I want a Jim Crowley Outdoors hat. And Jim Colby said, thanks. He loves his hat. Rodney, James, I'm sorry, you're a bit short. Rodney, you're getting a hat. We're going to be doing this just about on all these interviews, guys. Please tell friends about the name of the show, which is still going to be on Jim Crowley Outdoors. We're just going to be called Slick Fish Radio. On YouTube, you're going to be able to find all our interviews under our Slick Fish Radio interviews. And the reason I'm doing that, I'm not ready to let you know all that just yet. That'll be in the coming weeks. Trust me, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be you're really going to enjoy it. We're excited about it. Just some great things happening. And the reason some of the great things are happening is because of all you who view and constantly watch this show. Thanks, Greg. Slickfish, good. Yeah. Like I said, there's more coming with Slickfish, but we'll let you know in the future. But thanks to all of you. I am blessed by all of you watching the show, by telling friends and continually tuning in and making us part of every other Tuesday night for you guys. So I got to tell you one last thing here. We got some discount codes. Okay. So any of you shop at Lure Parts Online, go to Lure Parts Online, put in the code JC Outdoors 10. You get 10% off. Prime One Camo, best camo out there. We will have some news coming about them soon as well. Put in the code HERO1. You'll get a discount from them. My sunglasses of choice and have been for numerous years now. Fish 419. Put in the code Thanks JC. You will get a discount on them. If you're in the Springfield, Illinois area, you can get them at Shields. We support autism anglers. If you're interested in supporting them, go to Autism Anglers. You can also, for some cool gear, put in a code JC10. Now, a lot of you bought that hoodie, that Prime One Camo Lure Parts Online hoodie, and told me you loved it. Christmas is coming up. Check out this code for Lure Parts Online. This is good for the hoodie. Hoodie 2021. You will get 20% off that hoodie. All right. Go to lurepartsonline.com and check that code. Put in that code hoodie 2021, and you will get 20% off a hoodie. Put in the code JC Outdoors 10, and you'll get 10% off your regular order. So that is all of that. I appreciate all you watching. After we get offline here, we will check the rest of your comments. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to. So pleased that you all joined us. Big thanks again to Justin Lucas. A big thanks to all of you for watching us. God bless you. I'm Jim Crowley. We will see you soon.